up to. The lighting is kind of weird, champ, in here.
Yeah, my lighting was weird. I just lowered the shades and turned on just the overhead light.
No.
Especially with that window opened, it looked like I was like getting sent up into heaven. Just had a halo around my head with the window back there.
Yeah, I have a window on this end, but I also have 2 lamps here and here, and then I have my 2, I guess white light lamps. I don't. Yeah, I have these 2 as well.
If I close the blinds, I mean, it'll be darker in here, but will it be better for my face? Probably. Yeah.
I must say though,
a little bit.
I don't love the cast shadows on my eyes. It looks really funny to me because of the glasses.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's an. Oh, what is it? There's another singer who wears like a lot of eyeliner or whatever around her eyes, and there are images of her looking like a koala. I think it's a koala, and so that reminded me of that because I'm like, this looks really funny with how like dark around my eyes that they look. But yeah, there's nothing I can really do about it.
My lighting looks weird, but like I don't think there's much I can do about it. I feel like my face looks like it's like completely washed out, but
overhead.
Oh, well, it's because it's overhead, right?
Here. All my lights are either above or like I mean, like just no. That,
but your face is lit. Like mine, like if I back up a bit, it just goes into the dark. Like.
Do you have a light in front of you, Larkin?
No, I don't. The only thing I have is like windows, and I've got a window right here.
Oh, okay.
Obviously these 2, and then I could whatever. But
that's interesting because your room looks very, very bright.
It is. It is. But so those 2 lights that you can see there, right? There's another pair that's right in front of me, but like slightly behind me. So the light's coming down like this, so it's hitting me in the shadow.
Gotcha.
Like if I back up, like now I'm in the light.
Right. But it darkened your shirt though, so you look worse.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's actually probably just the contrast of the windows.
Yeah, I think did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. It's doomed. It's fine.
When I'm sitting for work, since my work setup is over here, the window is behind me, and so the lighting shifts all the time. So my face is either super bright or super dark, and I'm just like, what the heck? I can't win with this.
What can you do? You've done a bad lighting though. But anyway.
Yeah, here it's perfectly fine. Yeah, I did. I started recording right before we started talking about lighting.
Oh, guys.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, everyone, welcome to the podcast. We now have a name. It is called A Moment in Time. I'm really excited to jump into episode number 1, I guess. I guess this is episode 1 because the last one is considered episode 0 or whatever.
That's the pilot episode. This is the first official episode.
Right.
That was a test run that I was an hour and a half late for, but
it's okay.
On this one,
this time we all started.
You almost missed this one, Albert.
I did. But hey, I woke up. I had enough sleep, so it was all good.
Yeah, strong start to episode 1 for sure.
Right.
Okay, good. You have water. I didn't remember if I filled this up beforehand or not. I was like, I see everybody drinking. Do I have a drink? But
oh no, I'm surrounded by things. I have a water and tea because I just woke up, so I'm like, I need fluids, and then I have a banana.
Okay.
An orange. I already ate an orange right before we got on this call. I made myself an avocado toast, even though it's not toasted bread.
God. This is some West
I was gonna
Coast
say that
shit.
bread does not look toasted for something that's.
It's not. It's not. I don't have a toast. I don't have a toaster. I don't know why I messaged in the chat that I was making toast as well.
You said in the chat you were making toast. I was expecting toast.
I said that and I was like, I don't have a toaster. I don't know why I said that. Whatever.
How do you function without a toaster? I toast things all the time.
And then I have a Canada Dry in case I get sick of anything else.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
You're prepared to sit here for like all day.
Oh, and some what are these even called? I don't know. Some little biscuit cracker things. Yeah. That I grabbed that before I knew I had time to make the avocado bread, I guess.
Avocado bread.
Yep, the avocado bread.
Avocado bread.
Because I was like, I don't have time. I only have 10 minutes, so I just grabbed that. But
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm ready, especially because I wasn't feeling 100%. Well, I feel fine today though, so I should be fine. But I was like, just in case I get hungry, I don't want to get up in the middle of the podcast. I'll just start eating instead.
Dude, Albert spends a few months on the West Coast and he's eating avocado toast bread.
I mean,
whatever.
I've had those.
He's all in, bro.
I've had
He's
those.
all in on the West Coast.
I like
Have you had
avocado.
In-N-Out yet?
How
much In-N-Out have you had?
That's a good question.
Have I had In-N-Out yet?
Well, like Jack in the Box, one of those two. Those
No,
are like
I haven't. I haven't really gone to fast foods yet. When I first came here, we had an event at work, where it was like us, all of our leads, our mentors, and our PM. We all went to Red Robin, so that was the first time I had ever gone to Red Robin. But I don't.
We have Red Robins here, though.
Yeah,
it's not that.
yeah. So it's not that different, but it was a new experience. And then apart from that, I've had some McDonald's, but we have that at home too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are the only fast food chains
on the
I've
West
stopped
Coast,
at.
You haven't really experienced much of the West Coast.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Day one that Shannon was on the West Coast, she was like, I already had In-N-Out. I've had this. Wow. Very West Coast.
Well,
converted.
I went to like a few like more local spots, but like since I've moved into my apartment, I haven't done a lot of traveling. My plan today, I'll see. I'll try to do something today because I'm like I need to actually do stuff now that I'm here. I can't just sit around and like not do anything.
Sit all day,
yeah. But I do want to go thrift shopping at some point. I haven't really done that before. I went like once or twice, I think, in my life. So I think
you've never gone with people at Sunnybrook. They went all the time.
I went with them once.
Once.
And then the shirt that I bought. So I got two shirts. I remember. I got a Rise Against T-shirt and I got a Flash T-shirt. Flash T-shirt because I put it in the Stony Brook laundry got a hole in it like day 2. And then the other one, I just. I got bigger over the years. I probably shouldn't have bought. I probably shouldn't have bought that shirt.
I think we all probably gone a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I need to spend more time in the gym, to be honest. I'm like, I need to better fit in my clothing.
I just started hitting because I have a treadmill in like my basement downstairs. I just started hitting that again like this week, trying to do some type of activity.
Yeah, now that it's getting rainier. Like yesterday it was raining all day. Today it's actually fine right now, but it'll probably rain again considering how white the sky is. I have no idea. But I need to start going to the gym more consistently. Like I'll go a couple times a week, and then I've taken like a week off now. Or maybe 2 weeks off now, just because I wasn't feeling it. So I need to go back again. I think specifically I would like to build up my cardio because my cardiovascular system is trash already. Just because of asthma and like my heart and everything. So I would like to build that up.
Makes sense.
But it just takes time. I did actually run while I was here for the longest I've probably ever run, which was I think 10 minutes. And by the end of it, my insides felt like they were gonna explode, but I did it.
That's good then.
Yeah.
You always gotta push yourself like that. There's no point you can't like exercise just like I'm satisfied now. You always gotta like do it to like wiped out.
Right, exactly.
That's how you're like making progress.
Yeah, but it's also like after you get back after that, you're like, I don't want to go back and do that again. Sometimes I think it's just something you have to get used to. Yeah. Lorcan, go ahead.
It's
nice.
I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I got some turkey, some bacon.
Ooh, bacon is good.
Definitely a good hit. The usual lettuce, tomato.
I
don't know. It's pretty good. So yeah, I've been rocking this deli that's down the street.
Nice. Is it the same spot?
Yeah, it's the same spot. I think this is gonna be a recurring theme that I get a deli sandwich and then hop on the podcast. So you already know.
Yeah, I had a bagel with cream cheese before we got on. I just made myself a quick breakfast. Because I actually remember today. I woke up and I was like, oh, I have the thing. I gotta be ready.
See, Alex, you might as well just come over to my coast. We're both having breakfast at the same time.
Boo,
Well,
bro.
no, well, see, then it wouldn't work anymore. Then I'd just be, my schedule would shift just so that I would be eating in your afternoon instead.
Oh,
It doesn't really matter.
it
You'd
doesn't
have
matter.
2 weeks of being in sync, and then
Yeah, maybe not even, maybe like a couple days.
yeah,
Mhm.
It'd fall apart very quickly.
That's
I just
fine.
have to like every couple days just move like 3 hours west until like I go all the way around, and that's how I fix. That's how I'm gonna fix my sleep schedule. I just gotta keep moving west until I can't go west anymore.
But Albert, I gotta ask you about this West Coast business, because usually when people say West Coast,
Yeah.
they mean California, right?
I'm on the West Coast though. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
understand geographically.
No, I know, I get
speaking,
what Lark
Yeah.
is saying. A lot of
But
people when they say West Coast, they refer to
obviously,
like
culturally
California.
speaking,
Right.
West Coast has a certain association,
Mhm.
right? So being in Washington and not in Seattle either.
I'm by Olympia.
Okay, you're by Olympia. Yeah. So being in Washington, do you get that, like, do you know what I mean? Like that West Coast vibe, very carefree, very relaxed, sort of very expressive, very out there thinking. Like
Well,
the
I'm not in
stereotype that, like,
LA, so
West Coast
no.
has, yeah.
But it just feels like a lot of people here are more outdoorsy. I think that's the biggest difference.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah.
Because there are mountains everywhere, so it just kind of lends itself to that type of
Sure.
like feelings or
Mhm.
like hobbies and stuff like that. I haven't interacted with that many people though, so I don't know. To be honest,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I've always been more just hang out by myself for the most part,
Right.
or like just stay inside. I've done some things that are outdoorsy, but those are like with people from work. I haven't really met people.
Yeah.
I haven't met people really outside of that. And yeah, it's been more like, oh, work has ended. I'll just do something in my place. I don't really need to go out that much.
Yeah.
So I do want to branch out a bit, but I don't know. It's difficult sometimes after you finish the workday to be like, I want to go out and meet people.
Yeah.
So
I could agree with that.
yeah, I think my best bet is probably to spend my time on weekends doing stuff like that. But
But you're here with us instead.
I am here with you guys instead. And also,
Yeah.
like, my plan today is potentially also to go see Black Adam. Right? I'm
Oh,
not
let me know how that is. I've heard very mixed things about that.
really okay. I haven't heard
Like-
anything yet. I haven't looked at
Like,
anything just yet.
like the initial impressions for it, like, because you know how like these reviewers are, they post like their tweet like after
Yeah.
they get out of the first showing, and then the review comes later. Like a lot of those like initial thoughts seemed very positive,
Mhm.
but then like you go look at the Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 50%. It's like literally split right down the middle between positive and negative reviews. I've seen
Wonderful.
anywhere from people saying like great action-packed movie to like this movie is anti-entertaining. So all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what's going on
I
with
mean,
Black Adam.
My understanding is that they're bringing back Cavill. I don't know if it's in this. I don't think it's in this movie, but
That's
like,
what I heard. I heard it's the post credits.
oh, post credits. Okay,
He's
yeah,
back as Superman. Yeah.
yeah, because I've been hearing about that for a few weeks, and I'm like, that's cool. I would love Henry Cavill to come back as Superman. Maybe a bit more positive, but like as a more positive Superman would be nice. But apart from that, I would be totally fine with him coming back. I think he is a great actor. I really liked him in the Witcher series, and I really like that he's an actual fan of of some of these things. Like he's a huge Witcher fan, and I'm like, I don't know if he's a huge comic book fan, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable with just seeing someone who's willing to geek out about the things that they're working on. Like that's infectious and a very good sign. So if they bring him back to DC, I think that would be fantastic. I also think The Rock really cares about Black Adam. I like whether or not you think that The Rock should be Black Adam, or if the Black Adam character should be like one of the big characters. Yeah, one of the big characters of DC. That can be debatable. I understand that. Like that's totally understandable. At the same time, DC is a shit show. Just give me something good.
It really is.
I don't care. They've
Batman
spent
was good.
Yeah, the Batman was good. The Joker movie was good.
Zack Snyder's Justice League was also good. I don't know if you watched it.
I haven't watched it. I don't have access to HBO anymore. I haven't watched it.
Oh, you don't have access to HBO. That one was also I thought very good. The rest of it I could not care about.
Right.
And be happy with my life.
Yeah, and for the record, Larkin's just ignorant to all of this, so he's just eating a sandwich.
I mean, that's all. I had a question for Larkin anyway because I noticed he had like the Zora profile picture. I was curious, what is your attachment with the Pokemons?
Oh my god, dude! I have so many Pokemon
you can see, I got
plushies,
Pikachu.
like, dude.
Got Pikachu right there.
Oh, I don't have a Pikachu. I do own a Pikachu, dude. I've got so many of these. Like, I got a Shaman.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, freaking Bulbasaur. Anyway,
I definitely have fallen out of Pokemon like the past couple generations, but
same. Yeah.
But if it's like Generation 5 and before, I will play those all the time. Six and 7, I was like starting to be like, I don't know about this anymore. And then once it hit the Switch, I was done. Like, it's clear that the games are just very lazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't own a Switch either. I don't maybe own a Switch. I don't own a Switch.
I do. I own 2 Switches actually.
Oh shit! Okay, all right.
I got one, and I got.
Wait, why do you have a second one?
Well, okay. Well, I got one originally when the Switch first came out, and then my mom like one year for Christmas for some reason, like when Smash Bros was coming out, she like got the Smash Bros Switch even though I already had one, and she gave it to me for Christmas. So I wound up with 2.
Nice.
But that works out though because the original Switch model, like when it first came out, like the first couple months after release, has like a bad hardware bug where you could just if you like hit like certain combinations of buttons, you just boot it into like dev mode. So I have it basically completely jailbroken.
Nice.
My other Switch. So I did that, so I don't have to worry about getting banned online. So I have my Switch for everything normally, and then I have my completely jailbroken one that I just have a bunch of like emulators and totally legal games on. So
sure,
yeah.
Nice.
No, yeah, I never bought a Switch. I mean, there are a couple games that I really enjoy on Switch, like Smash, obviously, is fantastic. That's like the big one. There are a couple others, Mario Kart units.
Mario Kart 8.
But
yeah.
I have friends who own them. Like, I live in a house with a guy who has a Switch. He has on the TV all the time, so there's no reason to. The only reason I would have bought a Switch is if I was still invested in the Pokemon series.
Yes. If Pokemon games were still good, it would be a great console.
I'm glad you share the sentiment that Pokemon
I'm glad too.
So far down the toilet.
It's so far downhill.
Like
Generation 5 will always be the peak.
Couple generations. Yeah. It's hard to say. I think I'm partial to Generation 4, but Generation 5 is also
Generation 4 is also very good.
Even Gen 6 I really enjoyed.
Gen 6, the prime problem with Gen 6, I did not think the story was very good. I mean, it's the one the generation I put the most time into, like hours wise. I think my copy of Pokemon Y is the only game I actually maxed out the timer on. So I have like 99959 on it. So like I mean, I still enjoyed it, but like in terms of like, because the competitive stuff was very good for that generation. I thought competitive was very fun with Mega Evolutions and everything, but like the story was just not good. Especially coming off of Gen 5.
I
mean, yeah.
I remember
7, 8, whatever. It was just
Gen 7 was also pretty. The story was better, but like 90% of the game is cutscenes that you can't skip.
Yep.
So 90% of the game you're just mashing the A button.
Battling. Like you're not really fighting through any difficult gyms or anything like that. You're getting healed like after every battle. Like what is that, man? There's no struggle.
And then Generation 8 and on, I haven't even touched. But I just knew they weren't good. Like I was already like getting like like upset with like how the direction of the games are going because like with the yearly releases. Larkin is completely out of he's back.
There we go.
But no,
I could just tell like once it switched like yearly releases, like each game the quality felt like it was like getting worse and worse, like between the Switch to 3D and the yearly releases. And then by the time the Generation 8 came around on the Switch, and they're like, yeah, it's a Switch game, so we're charging you an extra $20, but now you don't even have all the Pokemon in the game anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
There was some like sort of like change in approach that they made at some point where it went from like the standard Pokemon sort of formula that had worked for a while. Maybe it was getting a little stale. They have to mix it up a bit, but that's fine. But they changed it dramatically from that to very cutscene heavy, very I mean, you could say action heavy, but it didn't even really feel like action,
No.
because it was all very scripted. I
Mm.
don't know, didn't feel like it had much many
It didn't
decisions to
feel. It
make.
just didn't feel the same. And if I think it was between the switch to 3D
Yeah,
and the yearly like being forced to like release at least one game a year definitely
yeah.
affected the series in a lot of negative ways.
It was, but yeah, I really enjoyed Pokemon back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
Like it was great. Like Albert knows this. I used to go to
Mm-hmm.
like video game tournaments for
Uh-huh.
Pokemon. Like the Game Freak run like video game championships or whatever. Like I
Oh yeah,
was super into it.
like the nationals and the worlds
Yep.
tournaments. I never went to any of those, but
Yeah,
I
I
did
went to
watch them.
nationals in 2014. Yeah. But yeah, oh my god. Yeah, I was like so deeply invested, spent
Yeah,
so
me
many
too.
hours. I mean, you hit 9 all like 5
Yeah,
nines on
on Pokemon
the
Y, I
Pokemon game.
maxed out the timer. That's how much I played that
Yeah,
game. I
yeah,
had
yeah.
over 1,000 hours in just Pokemon
Yeah.
Y. Yeah,
So I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see. I know one
I
of my
agree.
friends, Robert, Albert, you obviously know Robert,
Mm-hmm.
has been
No,
talking
I have no
about,
idea who you're talking about.
yeah, you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, he's been talking about, yo, bro, maybe we go back to another Pokemon tournament this coming year. New
Yeah.
game. I don't know. I told him like, look, if the games come out and the
And
reviews are really good,
the reviews
which
are
is
always going to be good, though. That's the problem I have, is that no matter how bad
well,
the games are going to be, they
dude,
always sell like 10 plus million copies and
that's
get
true.
insane reviews.
The
No matter
sales
how
are
bad the game
ridiculous.
is.
The sales are ridiculous, and the Pokemon fans will always say it's good. But not always,
Yeah.
but oftentimes they'll say it's good. However, if you look at like the like mainstream reviews, they've actually been quite harsh. Do you remember the meme from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire
Yeah,
where the
7.8 out
critique
of
was
10. Too much water. I'll
too
never
much
forget that.
water, bro? I
Too
thought
much
that was fucking
water.
hilarious. And honestly, they kind of had a point, but anyway.
I mean, I don't really
I don't
mind the
know.
water. It's no different from going through a cave. I don't
True,
know. People
true,
never have a
true.
problem with
Yeah.
caves, but they have a problem with the water. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It was all right. But yeah,
No, ever
Pokemon's gone
since
down
then,
the gutters, so
no,
I don't know.
it's down in the gutter.
We'll see. We'll see.
They'll have
It,
to do something big to get me back in.
yeah, for sure.
I do have a question though, because I don't play as many video games as you guys, obviously. But I have purchased Pokemon games, like 2 or 3 of them in the past, and my thought process has always been like, why are video games so damn expensive? And I feel like, especially even when it's just like, oh, I want to buy one game, it's like $50. And I'm like, I don't understand.
60 bucks is like the standard. They're trying to do 70 now, but 60 bucks is usually the standard.
I don't know. I'm like, if it was, a third of that, maybe I'd probably play some more video games.
I mean, you got to think about it like in terms of like, I guess if it's expensive for like someone like you who doesn't really get invested, but like as opposed to like, you go to, you gotta think about it, like how much are movie tickets? Like what could they be? Like $10, $15?
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half of entertainment. But then you pay like $60 for a game, and even like some shorter games, it's still like 20 hours.
That is true.
So like when you think about it in terms of like how much time investment versus the price, I think it's usually could be considered quite fair, especially for some longer games like Persona 5 is $60. So that game is over 100 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great game.
like that at that point, it's like you're paying like cents per hour.
That is true. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it that way. So that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I've always just been like,
I push it to like $70 now, but like I feel like there's a point where it just gets ridiculous. I don't know. I feel like $70 might be pushing a little too hard at that point, even though it's only like $10 difference. It's just like, I don't know, man. That's a lot of money. You gotta convince people to spend it all at once. I think that's more so the problem. If it was like you could buy a game in installments,
right? I think also
like having to drop that all at once.
Right. I think also the last game that I purchased, outside of maybe like something on a console, like on my desktop or something, was probably, it was a Pokemon game. I don't remember, like they had gone to a tropical island or something, and there was like Team Skull. Yeah. I think it was like Team Skull instead of Team Rocket, and I was just like, yeah, I remember that, and I was like, this was a terrible waste of money. I shouldn't have purchased this game. And also,
we were just saying it's a Pokemon game after Generation 5.
Right.
So,
before that, I played Y. I think that was the other game that I had purchased.
Yeah, Generation 6.
And then before that, I had a game that was given to me for the Game Boy that I got, but I lost that. Like I lost all my Game
Empire.
Boy games, so I don't remember which one it was. I lost them a long time ago. The only game I had left after that day where I lost all those games was a Monsters Inc. game. but apart from that, I just don't recall what game that was, like which version or whatever. But I will say, since you guys were talking about like your plushies and stuff, I do really want to get a Snorlax plushie because Snorlax is amazing. I remember growing up, and I was always just like,
"That's your favorite?"
It's either Snorlax or maybe Meowth. Because Meowth can talk, and I was like, Meowth is cool. Okay, he has some intelligence. Yes, because he can talk, and his like personality and everything is just funny.
Do you know the lore behind why he talks?
I don't remember. Was he experimented on or something?
No, he was like just trying to impress. He was trying to impress like a female Meowth, so he just learned how to speak.
There was an episode about this, right? There was an episode about this.
Yes.
Okay.
After he did that, the female Meowth was still like, "Nah, I'm not interested."
Nah, you're weird. Why can you talk?
Why can you talk? That's weird.
That's funny.
So, and then I guess he became depressed and joined a gang. I don't know what the lore is after that, but
he lost a girl, and he joined a gang. Yep, that's how it works. Yeah, Meowth was always cool, and then the other character, obviously Snorlax. I was always just like in the games. He's just like sleeping all the time, you know, he just blocks your path, and he's like, he doesn't care. He's just living his life, you know.
He's just based like that.
Yeah, and I always thought that was really funny and cool. So I was like, Snorlax is just a G. He's doing whatever he wants. So those were like always the two characters that I was like, they're both pretty cool. Yeah,
makes sense.
But all right, let me see if I have any questions about y'all. I haven't looked at this list since last week, so let me just read through real quick. Wow, these are all more serious questions compared to what we were talking about.
We're just talking about Pokemon, and then I was going to be like, have you ever considered how your life is up to this point? And like some real like dark existential question.
Hide the bodies. Anyway.
Yeah, these are much more serious.
Albert, I remember there was like some introductory questions from last time. Did we get through all those or?
Yes, because I only had like 3 of those. Yeah.
Okay.
So like I re-asked them to Alex when he first joined.
Yes, I remember that.
Real quick, but.
Yo, fuck it, bro, dude. This is what it's about. Yo, shoot, send.
Oh, I do want to ask. This is a bit more in topic with what we were talking about. I don't know if Larkin, you've played Fortnite recently, but Alex and like everyone that we went to college with is playing Fortnite, and so yeah, they're all playing Fortnite. That's why I played.
Even my friends from home too, we're all back on playing.
Oh really? Yeah, I played.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Because they have no build now. That makes it so much better. I don't have to worry about people building.
Oh, that is kind of interesting.
That's why the whole reason a lot of us are playing is because they have 0 build now.
Yeah, so
wow, like, the game actually is fun now.
My question was legit just, is it good right now? That's what I wrote down. But
is
I was
Fortnite good right now? Yes.
Yeah. I was curious. So Larkin, have you not heard anything about this?
Okay, look. So I played Fortnite with my roommate Miguel, or was he my roommate at the time? Maybe he wasn't at the time, but I played with one of my college friends, Miguel. He got me to play a couple rounds of Fortnite, like probably 2018. Like the game had just come out, and like nobody knew about it. We played a couple rounds. Miguel was like, "Yeah, dude, this game's been kind of picking up some traction," and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be another one of those games that's like remotely popular for 2 weeks and falls off the face of the earth. This game is trash. There's no substance." And then like literally like 2 months later, like we're walking down the street, like passing by like some 8-year-olds, and they're like, "Yo, let's go play Fortnite." I'm like, excuse me? Kid. Like, what happened to the youth of this planet? Anyway, so apparently Fortnite's really popular and a bunch of people like it. Personally speaking, I don't know. Maybe they've improved the game since when I played it, but I was not a huge Fortnite enthusiast. However, I will say I didn't really enjoy the building mechanic, and the fact that they had the awareness to remove it or like create an alternate game mode or something like.
Yeah, it's an alternate game mode.
That's kind of like 5-head. I'm not gonna lie. that shows like some understanding of their products. So.
I agree too.
I mean, I just like that it's easier now for me because I don't have to worry about building because
exactly,
I'm not used to that many mechanics.
Like a lower bar of entry.
Yeah. Especially because I don't play that many games. So when we played the other week, I was like, yeah, this is actually kind of fun, and I could play it and not freak out as much and be like, I don't know what to press to do things. I just need to use my mouse to shoot things. So it's,
and then also
all
at squad, so you would just kind of would walk around, and then the rest of us would just like kill everybody, and then you would have won, and you would be like, oh,
that's true. That is true. No, I had a ton of fun just like driving the car and then crashing into things and then blowing up. It was really funny. It was really, really funny because like because I didn't know how to drive these cars in the game. And so I would just like get in the car, and I think at one point I drove into a gas station, and I didn't realize that the gas station would just blow up. And I was like, what the heck just happened?
Yep.
And then another time I was driving like on the water in this like boat thing, and then I just drove onto the land and it still kept going. And I was like, this is odd.
This game, bro.
Yeah, they have boats. There's a lot. If you haven't played this since 2018, the game is basically completely different.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nuts.
They also have the storyline thing, but I haven't looked at that yet. I just saw
nobody
the cutscene.
has looked into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody has the story for that game.
Apparently the video or my live stream last time got flagged, by the way, because I think it's
showing the video.
Yeah, I think it was because I showed the video, and then also when I was in the cars, it still played music for some reason. Even though
you probably have to just turn off like
music?
the radio.
That's crazy. Huh.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. The radio.
There's like an option to turn off the radio in the car.
Oh, okay. Then that's probably what it was. Yeah, because I remember I selected like no music or whatever, but
yeah,
that's
I think
fine.
That might just be for like the emotes, because there's a lot of emotes that have copyrighted music too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it might have been just for the emotes, I guess.
Yeah, I'll have to go through those settings again just to make sure I can actually stream next time.
Yeah.
But it is unfortunate that you can't just play the games with everything on them. Because I think that used to be a thing where you could like stream with like their music and everything like that. But then I think a year or two ago, they cut that out. They were like, nope, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Just from a promotion standpoint, it doesn't make sense, but whatever.
It does seem like a bit of a mistake, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know, a bit of a strange like marketing decision, right? You know, makes a little more friction to it, but I don't know. I assume there's got to be some trade-off.
I mean,
some commissions from the music or something.
On the one hand, like I understand why they would do it, but on the other hand, it's like you're getting free promotion for everything that you put in, and like you put in so much effort into those songs, that music, whatever, or you're paying for it through some royalty or whatever. Like you paid for that in some way, shape, or form, and now no one's gonna hear it. Right, unless they're just playing it by themselves, which that's still a substantial, like that's majority of people. Majority of people just play it by themselves. They're not streaming at all. However, a lot of people will get into games. Like Persona 5 has a fantastic theme. Like all those songs in that game are fire. So good. And if you're like streaming Persona 5, like off Twitch or whatever, you won't hear any of those songs. And that's just to the detriment,
I don't think it matters for that stuff. I think it's just like licensed music, like because
is it just licensed music?
Yeah, just like because Fortnite just has like a radio of like just actual music, like popular songs.
Maybe it's that. Okay, I could be wrong about that. That's what I thought it was.
Persona's music is written just for the game. I think that's the difference.
That's good. Okay.
It's not like the songs are written just for Fortnite. You know, they're like actual songs by actual like artists. They just license them to be used in the game.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, then never mind. That's not as big a deal. Like I would understand for.
Oh, you were talking about just like licensed music in games. I was like,
right.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
For that, it's maybe I wouldn't have as much of a problem. If it's just that, then maybe I don't have as much of a problem. I thought it was all music, all sounds, like whatever.
No, I don't think it's all music in all games. That would be ridiculous.
Okay,
if that was the case.
That's what I understood it, because I remember when it first happened, like people were talking about it, and it made it sound like it was.
Maybe it was like that at some point, but it's not like that now. They might have changed the rule again.
Okay.
Like, they might have like gone back on it. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I didn't follow it too deeply. It's just something that's been in my brain now that I streamed a game. And I didn't look at the specifics of it. Like I didn't look at which moment in time that they flagged, because now it's just like they'll flag the first instance of it, but there could be other instances of whatever later on. So it's kind of hard to tell sometimes what exactly they're flagging. Normally, though, I only get flagged if I'm playing music, like if there's a backtrack for a video, like especially if I'm reacting to something. If they have like a popular song on there, it will get flagged because I don't separate my audio from the recording of the like the screen capture audio. I just record it all together through my mic. So it's all together, and so I can't separate it.
On like one channel. You can't like, just mute the video separate from your microphone.
Right, exactly. So that's why like the way I see it has always been like, oh, see the first instance. It's hard to tell what else would have been caught. So there's not really a way to fix that, but that makes sense. I hope you're right, to be honest, because that would be much better.
I think that has to be it. I don't think that would be really stupid if it was just, you just can't play with music at all. I don't think that's the case.
Right. It is still unfortunate that you can't just play copyrighted music because I would just enjoy playing my background like Spotify playlist. If I was doing that, like that'd be really cool. But I can't do that, so that's kind of unfortunate. And
how has streaming been?
Overall,
what's the name of your Twitch channel?
I don't remember. I'm not streaming on Twitch anymore. I don't like it.
You're not streaming? You're streaming on YouTube now. Oh,
yeah.
never mind.
I switched it to YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube.com/.
Like a lot of like streamers I follow are switching back to YouTube streaming now.
It's a good platform.
Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch is. I feel like losing a lot of people now.
No, they are.
Just from like an outsider's perspective, like I don't know too much just because I have barely streamed and I never really paid much attention to Twitch in general.
Yeah, Twitch is losing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I think apart from maybe like Ludwig and like a few other streamers, I haven't really watched anything.
Yeah, besides like top creators, it's way harder to get discovered on Twitch than it is like on YouTube.
Yeah.
Discoverability is not as good and the pay is worse. On Twitch, they only have a 50-50 split between themselves and the creators, where like every other platform is at the minimum like 70-30. So
yeah, and just for me personally, I prefer like watching highlights of things or like YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah, me too. I prefer
as
well.
So like,
I prefer YouTube as well.
Yeah, like that's how I watched a lot of the Dream SMP stuff. I watched it through like more highlighted videos that were like actual story points. Whereas if you look at their live streams, there are parts that aren't part of the story and stuff like that. So
I usually just wind up watching YouTube highlights of streams rather than like, the actual stream.
Yeah, and even like Ludwig's content, I just watch his videos because like apparently the way that he breaks up his Twitch stream is like they're different video concepts. That's how it's broken up. And so it's fun just to watch like one video concept, and like that's cool. Like I like that aspect of it. Where it's like you just have to sit there for like 10-20 minutes and you get like a full story thing, which I just like. It's enjoyable to look back at that. That does remind me. Well, the reason I haven't done that is because I don't want to edit right now. I really don't. I don't want to do any editing.
That's the whole reason I stopped making YouTube stuff too. So I just hate the editing part.
Yeah.
There's a reason all these YouTubers hire editors because nobody wants to do it themselves. Nobody wants to edit.
See,
it's so tedious and not fun.
Right. If I ever have cash to spare, I'll find an editor one day. I think that's honestly the only thing that's holding me back from making a lot of videos. Is just I don't want to edit right now, and I'm like I might as well go outside or watch something entertaining instead of doing that.
I'm the exact same way with that.
Yeah.
What types of edits would you like to do that you don't usually, or like what types of edits do you usually do that are tedious? Like,
so
where is the energy drain?
Right. So reactions are very easy, right? I could do like 10 reactions in a day if I really wanted to, and like edit all of those, and it would be like 3 hours, right? I could do that. Because those videos are just put the screen capture in a corner and then chop out the video every 10 seconds for 5 seconds, and that'll pretty much cut out any potential issues for copyright. And then all I have to do from there is make sure the audio is fine, because I'll cut out my camera audio and just like delete it, and then typically I'll do that and just hold the recorded like screen capture audio, because it has my voice and the video that I'm watching all together. That's pretty simple. The only time that gets annoying is when the video is over 20 minutes or over 10 minutes, really. It gets annoying. On top of that, it gets even worse when you're watching a full episode of television, because I've done those, and it's difficult because you're distilling 40 minutes. Yeah, you're distilling 40 minutes to a maximum of 50 minutes, or not 50 minutes, 15 minutes, right? And that can be pretty rough because you're just shaving down as much as you can. And then on top of that, it's like, well, you can't just be in that same format as if you're watching like a 5 to 10 minute video, because that's boring. That's really boring after like a couple minutes. So on top of that, I add like, sometimes I'll make the video itself that I was watching, or the episode, the full screen, and then I just become like a little circle. And then
just
like
to diversify like the editing. So
yes,
it's not just the same cuts over and over.
Yeah, and then like every time I'm cutting, or every time I like am emphasizing something, I'll change the size of different boxes and stuff like that, just to make it more dynamic, because it has to be dynamic if you're going to do something that long. So that's definitely a bit more of a drain, because it'll take like 2-3 hours for one episode of television. And that's a lot of time, right? And so that's difficult to do. Also, it's hard to just be high energy for 40 minutes straight while on camera. For me personally. And usually when I watch television, I'm just like, I want to relax and watch television. I don't want to be on, in a sense, like just like to be reacting to it, because I don't like reactions where it's just you watching the show. Because that's not a reaction. You're just watching the show. You're just sitting there.
You want to add something to it, so it actually becomes an interesting piece of content.
Yes, and I can do that when it's a 5 to 10 minute video, even a 20-minute video here and there. But when it gets longer than that, it gets tiresome. And also sometimes you just get enthralled with what's happening on screen, and you don't want to talk. You don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
So those have been like on the reaction side of things. Beyond that, though, right? Vlogging, or like just doing more interesting concepts, also requires a lot more forethought in terms of camera angles and things like that, in terms of making the scenes more dynamic and interesting. And I've had an interest in doing that, but on top of that, once you do that, you then have to edit down much more footage to create what you were trying to create. So it's a much more all-inclusive process. And if you don't love editing, it becomes a problem. Yeah. So, like, for example, I did want to create what is it called? A house tour, like of my apartment, an apartment tour. But I obviously just like walking around with a camera and being like, this is my apartment. That's boring. No one cares. No one cares, right? It's not an interesting topic, right?
Let's go.
I care about the Albert House story.
Yo, I okay. Albert House story,
well, like, but you get my point, right? Like, most people don't.
I 100% get your point. I know what you're saying.
Like, if the topic itself is just like something about you, like, who are you? To be honest, like frankly, like, who are you? Like, no one cares, right?
No, I know what you mean. It's shallow.
Yeah, it's like really shallow. So it's like, first off, it has to be something that people are actually interested in watching. So like the reactions work for that, because people actually want to see people react to that show. Like, they're not really there for you. It's more like they're there to watch that show.
For your reaction.
Right. At least to start with, right? Because they'll search the video that they want to see someone reacting to, or the show that they want someone reacting to, and then find people from there. And then maybe they really like that person's reactions, and then they continue to watch that person's reactions. When it's like someone's house tour, or if it's like them vlogging about something, they have to care about that person first in order to watch that video. Or the cinematography, like the actual video has to be super entertaining, right? And in order to get it to be very entertaining, it's a lot of editing work. And then also it's, while you're doing whatever you're doing, you're also thinking about the video at the same time. So if you're doing a daily vlog, right? And you're just like, say you're just like going on a hike or something, right? It also takes you out of the hike because you have your camera with you the entire time.
You're focused more on making content than you are like the contents of the
hike. And then on top of that, like, the people around you also have to be okay with it, right? And you might potentially ask them to record you here and there. And so it like pulls you out of whatever you're actually doing.
That makes sense.
And so it's a struggle there, especially if your friends aren't really interested. Like, it would be cool to do like some challenge videos and stuff like that. But I'm like, most of the people I know, at least from high school, I'm like, none of them probably want to be on camera for anything. They don't even want to take pictures and stuff. So, college may be a little bit different, but I don't know. I feel like, apart from like you, Alex, and like Murray, Shannon, maybe Justin, and like Piyusha, I don't really talk to anyone from college, outside of maybe like the people I went to classes with. So like I have a group chat with my like senior design group. I'll talk to them sometimes too, but it's like there's a very small set of people that I actually converse with in the day to day, or like even like semi consistently. And it's like the question of, well, do I ask them to be in videos? And also like, would they even be entertaining on camera? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if you gather people together to do something like that, and then the video sucks, and you're just like, well, that video sucked, I'm not going to put you guys out there even though I asked you guys to do this. It's like, so there are layers to that whole process where it's like, the editing itself is very difficult, and then there's only so much you could do by yourself. And then if you want to use your existing friends, it's like they might not be interested, or they might just not be good on camera.
It's a whole thing you have to figure out.
Yes, really. Yes. And I haven't really had many people on camera in general. Like I've had you, Alex, and now you, Larkin. Like that's it. That's it. Those are the only people that I've ever been on camera with. And it's like, it's very different.
I have a very random idea that just want to throw out there, because I know you were saying, you're talking about engagement and keeping things interesting or whatever. This is completely random, but when we do titles for these videos, there should be like a few like main like some of the key like
topics that
we discussed. Like
because I was thinking Pokemon would be one of them for today. Like that's what I was going through.
I was thinking like, when I go and look through like past podcasts of someone I'm interested in, I don't watch every podcast. Obviously, it's far too much. I don't go in sequential order or anything, right? I just specifically target maybe the person, but most likely I don't know the person. I'll target the topics.
Right.
And so that might be something I remember, just something off the top of my head. But anyway.
Yeah, that was something that crawled through my mind. And then as you guys were talking about Pokemon, and then I was like, I don't remember what we talked about specifically. Am I gonna have to rewatch that hour and a half to figure out what those topics were? And I was like, nah, it's all good. That's episode 0. That's just gonna be titled like who we are or something like that. Like that's it. Like that is what it is. But yeah, it's an interesting concept. It's also very different. Like I feel like it would be different, Alex, if you were also still like doing YouTube, because I'd have someone to talk to about those types of things. But like, since I don't know anyone,
every now and then I think about getting back into it, but then at the same time I'm like,
but it's the editing. It's the editing.
The problem I have with the editing, since I do like the Let's Play stuff, every video I usually try to always hit around like 20-30 minutes. So most of the time it's mostly me just waiting for videos to render.
Right.
That drives me insane. Like it's like I finish everything and I want to just upload it. But then I have to wait until it's done rendering before I can even do that. That's the part that usually drove me over the edge. Like if I even got back into the content creation, I would probably just do live streaming, because it's like doing the same thing, but I don't have to edit it afterwards.
Yeah.
How long does it take for like an average like 30-minute video to render? Is it like about the same amount of time as the video length?
Sometimes it really depends. Normally most of my videos take around the same time. If it's like an hour or like something like that, I will just leave. I'll just walk away for a while and then come back. There's no point in me sitting there. What's really frustrating though is when you're trying to record, or when you're trying to edit multiple videos in the same day, because then you're stuck.
Yes. That's how I always used to do it. That's what drove me crazy. Because I would just like, if I was doing like a Let's Play or something, I would just record like like 2 hours and then split it up immediately into like 4 30-minute episodes. For like example. So I would do that all back to back to back, and that's what would drive me insane. It's like, can you finish rendering so I could like render the next one already? Like, please.
Yeah, and I guess there's a queue feature in Premiere. I've just never used it. I honestly,
I never used Premiere.
Oh, do you know? What did you use?
I was a cheap bastard, and I was a little kid. Windows Movie Maker.
Okay.
Let's go.
Dude, I spent like a year trying everything not to spend money on it. and then I was like, I tried it with like I think it was a free trial, probably is what I started with. I tried it on Premiere and I was like, oh my God, this is so nice.
I can see the light.
It's not buggy.
Yeah, I'm sure it's worth it. What if you put in the money? I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like in middle school when I started. I was like, I'm not.
Right,
I don't have money.
right. That makes sense. Yeah, I started with several free softwares, but they all caused problems all the time. They were always like difficult to run. Now, but the one issue that I had with Premiere when I got it is I couldn't run it on my laptop because my laptop doesn't have a graphics card. So I had to switch it over. I can only edit on my PC now, which isn't usually a problem unless I'm traveling, right? And it's not really a problem right now because I haven't edited much since I've been here. But the problem with that though is Premiere is so expensive. It is.
Yeah, what is it? Like, what
is
do you
it
pay monthly on it, right?
Yes, it's a subscription. So. It has been for ever since I've done it.
How much is it a month?
Monthly, I don't know, but I know for the year it's like $250 or something.
You pay yearly.
Yeah,
it's just like over $20 a month.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. I think it's actually around $20 a month, maybe a little bit over, for Premiere and like two or three other things. The unfortunate part is Photoshop is not part of the same exact package.
Of course, yeah. Why would it be? That's an easy way to make more money.
Yeah, and it's really annoying because I'm like, the only things I would use are Photoshop and Premiere. Photoshop is really good for thumbnails, and now that I've lost access to that, it's really annoying. That's just another thing where I'm like, I don't have a way to make good thumbnails anymore. It's just dumb.
I mean, I don't know. What do you use now to make thumbnails?
I switched back to Canva, and I've recently found another website called Pixlr or something like that. And that one is like, it's okay. The issue is they have a lot of premium features as well. Like all their templates are pretty much premium, but I think it works fine because they have some actual like tools associated with it. It's just not Premiere, or it's not Photoshop, obviously.
Yeah, I use this. I use this program. It's called Paint.net.
Paint.net.
Yo, I know Paint.net.
You know, that's what I use.
Yo, you're bringing up all the classics.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Windows Movie Maker and Paint.net. That's
all you need. That's all you need.
That's all you need for free, Albert. You're paying $250 a year or whatever.
Windows Movie Maker, Paint.net,
for free,
and 30 hours per video.
Yep.
You too can have the performance of Adobe, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Program Adobe, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's a classic. Goes way back. Yeah. No, Paint.net has like, I mean, it has. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has most of the features like layering and these sort of things and transparency and whatnot of like Photoshop, but it's all like very bare bones and like kind of
I think
very
it's
obtuse to
like
work with.
Like open source kind of. I think they have like plugins and extensions you can get for it though. I think I never looked into it though.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
I think there might be like some open source element to it, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'll take a look. Yeah, because I'm still looking for a spot for making good thumbnails. The only thing,
there must be something. There must be something stronger available today. I mean, Paint.net was, it was like the freemium program, like back, like.
That's what I still use. Though. It still gets updated and stuff, so clearly there's still some.
Yeah, maybe it's still good. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I'm not tied to anything right now. It's just whatever works. I just don't want to continue using Canva. The biggest issue that I have right now is that the thing that I really liked about Photoshop is that you can just select layers with like a freeforming select tool. So like I could just select my existence, myself without the background, and delete the entire background, and just have myself on something else behind, like another image, right? And then if I wanted to, I could create a border, like a white border or something, to make myself pop, right? That's the main thing where I'm like, I don't want to just have like square images because they don't look as good. If you're like posting a square image inside your thumbnail, it doesn't look as good. So that's the main thing where I'm like, if I can do that, I'm golden. Also, you're turning red, Alex.
What do you mean?
Not anymore.
What do you mean I'm turning red?
You were like,
was my camera glitching out? I wasn't even noticing.
I don't know. I don't know if it was like maybe did you have a different screen open or something a second ago? I don't know. But there was like a purplish.
I just have Discord full screened on my.
Oh, okay, that was weird then. I don't know.
I don't know then.
Huh, Larkin, did you not notice that?
I was not paying much attention, but yeah, your camera was definitely doing some coloration there.
That's so bizarre.
I did want to switch gears to ask a different question.
Let's go.
So, we've all played instruments in the past.
Yes.
Larkin,
oh God, bro.
Larkin,
oh my God.
you recently played piano. No, I mean, right I'm talking about piano, Larkin. Okay, we're not even talking about
throwback to the viola section.
My question was, this is more thought provoking than I thought it was.
Yo, shoot, bro. Shoot.
Okay, so first question is, what initially drew you to the instrument that you chose? And then I have another question that's a bit more, philosophical in a sense.
Well,
what drove me to the guitar was Guitar Hero and School of Rock.
Nice.
Jack Black.
Nice.
That's what made me do it as a kid.
School of Rock was a great movie.
I love that movie. Definitely one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Top tier for sure.
I mean, I can preface my response by saying I still haven't gotten an electric keyboard, so I haven't played the piano consistently since I moved out like 5 months ago. But anyway, I got out of college like last summer. It was so long ago, over a year ago now. And I don't know, just house is very quiet. Wanted to put some music in the house. We have a piano. It's checking all those boxes. And then also I was thinking about this. I was like, as you grow older, it can become more difficult to develop sort of like the fine motor skills of an instrument. And so I was thinking, if there's any time that I'm going to develop like the skills of playing a musical instrument, considering I dropped like viola and like clarinet in like elementary school and middle school, right?
Right.
It would have to be. It should be now. Not that you can't learn when you're older, but it just becomes more difficult as time goes on.
That makes sense.
So yeah, so I mean, so in that sense, like the piano is there, it's available, it fills up the house with music. It was a really nice choice in that sense, and also the piano itself. Just speaking about the piano itself, you can, with a piano solo, you can sort of roughly construct, say, most songs, most pieces, pretty much on your own, like because the piano is so incredibly versatile. So I think there was kind of a lot of appeal there, but it was just the main appeal of like wanting to get sort of music into my life, like while we're just still in our 20s, like wanting to like to be able to develop some of that technical expertise like now. Although that said, I probably lost a significant amount of my progress because I haven't played in like at least 5 months.
And,
I haven't touched my guitar in years, so you're doing better than me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I want to buy an electric keyboard just so I can have in my room that's not very heavy, so if I move, I can move with it, and start picking up some elementary pieces again. But yeah.
That makes sense.
There's that. I forget what your second question was.
I didn't ask the second question yet.
Well, Albert's got to answer the first question. What got you into playing drums, Albert?
So, I started with, what was it, the third grade? Third grade? Was that when we picked up our string instruments, Larkin?
Yeah, third grade. Yeah.
So, I started with viola. I think that was my first instrument ever. And then, I don't know if it was that year or right after I picked up piano at some point as well when I was really young. Hated that, but regardless, the piano, viola was my first instrument. Elementary school was kind of a mess, so I would just forget that I was in orchestra or band, and I would think, I don't know, I did this multiple times where I would just be like, oh, our concert happened, I guess band and orchestra are over. I'll just never show up from now on, because the way that it was set up in our elementary school was like you would be taken out of class to go to play your instrument.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So it was weird. I don't know. I was a bit scatterbrained as a child, so I just I was a bit of a mess for music, but anyway, 4th grade got into percussion, and then at some point in elementary school, maybe it was the 4th grade or it was in that range. I also started playing piano against my will. Well, technically, I picked up viola against my will too because I wanted to play bass because I thought bass looked cool. But my parents thought I would die from the weight of holding up a bass and like carrying it back and forth from school.
Oh my god!
So they were like, "Let's not do that." So anyway, I quit piano first because I was like, I don't want to play this instrument. I wanted to play guitar instead of piano. And they weren't offering piano at the place I was learning, or they weren't offering guitar where I was going to learn piano. So I ended up learning piano against my will. Didn't learn a lick of piano because terrible teacher.
You weren't interested in.
Yeah, terrible teacher, but also I wasn't interested. So it was like a double whammy of like not being able to move forward. So at some point I quit that. It was probably 6th grade or something like that, maybe 7th grade. I don't remember exactly when that was. It must have been 6th grade at least. I had ended at that point. So I was playing. Also, I'm doing a much more detailed than you guys, but this is, I don't know, it's whatever.
Mine wasn't that detailed. That's what it just was. I played guitar. Yeah, I played school rock. I was like,
right.
Sick. I want to learn it. That's what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, played both percussion and viola. Got my drum set, I think, in the 6th grade as well, because I really wanted one. I thought it was cool, and I was like, I just want one. Didn't really practice, though, so nothing really happened there for like 3 years. After 8th grade, I quit viola because I didn't want to continue. And then 9th grade, I joined a band for my drum set. Did that all throughout high school. 10th grade, I rejoined on viola because I missed it for some reason. And I was like, why don't I actually try playing this instrument instead of being a moron and just like goofing off every time? That's probably why you didn't like it, because you weren't trying. So I'm glad I went back to do that. And I had fun overall. It was a lot of hard work. But yeah, all throughout like high school and everything, played both percussion for band, drum set for my personal band, and then viola for that. And then earlier this year, and I've tried before to like pick up some piano here and there. I've just had a piano under my bed my whole life. And I decided to practice a little bit, start of the summer, and then I didn't bring it with me here, so I have no instruments.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
What an anticlimactic finish.
I was about to say the same.
Yeah.
Very anticlimactic finish.
Yeah.
Saga.
Very anticlimactic finish. I just have my drum pad. That's the only thing that I have with me. But I've been wanting to get a electric kit and an electric piano, but they're both expensive. And also, if I get an electric piano, I want one that has speedometers in all the keys and one that can easily interface with like my computer, right? If I want to record anything. And then similarly, I want the same functionality out of my drum set if I get an electric kit. So that's why I'm holding off. I want to save up a bit first before making those purchases because I don't want to be broke as an adult. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It is unfortunate that I haven't really been playing, but that's okay. I'll pick it back up eventually. My second question is...
This is the thought-provoking one.
Yes. Do you guys think that music is vital to building culture and society? I don't know if that's a poorly formulated question. Is that why you're cringing, Larkin?
No, it's well formulated. It's just, okay. I'm gonna have like a bit of a meta take here.
Okay.
All right. I think oftentimes, independent of music per se, but we'll ask these types of questions like, is X a vital part or a necessary part of Y or Z? And in these like sort of questions, specifically regarding society and culture, in general, I think the answer is almost always like from a logical, like objective perspective, no.
Okay.
Like, would we survive without music in our society? Would society go on? Would civilization go on?
Right.
Yes, of course it would, right? If we were all deaf, right, we are still very complex individuals, you know, or complex human beings, right? And perhaps even despite being deaf, perhaps we would develop some sort of like rhythmic value.
Yeah, based off
Or
maybe
something.
vibration or physical touch instead. Like it's still
Sure, something like
possible.
that. Something like
Yeah.
that. Something similar, like tangential to music,
Yeah.
but that isn't quite. Like, of course it would. But I don't really feel like that is like the core of what you're asking, right? Um,
Yeah, it's not like
you know,
I wasn't asking like, oh, will civilization die out if we don't have music? Like that's not what I meant. That's not
right,
right.
exactly. Or even just culture, right? Like,
Right.
would culture be completely doomed if there was no music? I don't think you're
I
asking
don't think so. Right.
in a
Yeah.
literal sense, you
Right,
know.
right.
Like, there's something more there, and I don't know. Again, I would say probably like not really like even just thinking about myself,
Mhm.
like I mean, I enjoy music. I appreciate music. You know, it brings some color, some character to my life.
Right.
But at no point in my life has it been like a central point.
Mhm.
Thinking like about art and sort of like culture and how I as a individual interact with that. Um, I've been much more drawn to say literature or like literal artwork or some of these other mediums
Mhm.
like in equal or greater magnitude than
Yep.
music. And
Right.
so it would definitely be a loss, but I don't know. For me, like it's like one thing to say I value music quite highly, but
Mhm.
it's an entirely separate conversation to say, well, is it fundamental? No, it's just a great part of life.
Right.
You
It's
know?
almost like you
Yeah,
have like culture, which is like a concept and it has these different pillars holding it up. And just because you
absolutely.
break down like the music pillar, there are still all the other ones that can kind of still hold up the rest of it. That's what you're
Perfect
saying.
analogy. Perfect
Gotcha.
analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. I
Yeah.
was gonna basically I mean, music was I never said music was never like a top tier importance in my life either. So
Mhm.
like, I mean, I feel like I've been functioning just fine without music. Like Larkin said, I mean, like society as a whole, would we function without music in general? I don't know. Do we even function with music as it is right now? Like
True.
That
I
is true.
I don't know.
Very based.
Like I don't know. Has music really had that much impact? Would society be any less crazy than it is now, or more crazy with or without it?
Mhm.
I can't say because I live in a society with music.
Right.
I don't know.
I get what you're
Like
saying.
so.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should give us a special sort of acknowledgement, however, of like the minority of people in society who are, you know, suffering for whatever particular reason, find music as like an out. Um, I'm not one of those
That's true.
people.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I can't really like sort of empathize in that manner because I just haven't experienced things in that way.
Mhm.
But I know a lot of people like use like emotional, like sort of passionate music to sort of like, you know, vent their emotions or you know flush them
Mm,
out
yeah.
or better
Right.
experience them in some way. I don't really know, but I know that's like a big thing for a lot of people. So
So
I mean,
I have done that actually.
maybe
I
music is
have
Doing
doing
something
more
for
than
them, just
right.
not
yeah.
for us. I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have had situations where it's like I'm completely like shattered mentally for one reason or another, or like I'm just in like the worst possible mood, and it's like 12 o'clock at night. I need to go for a walk, and I just need to
Mm,
blast music into my ears. This was a bit more common, I think, in college. Couldn't do this at home because my parents would be like, "Why the hell are you leaving the house in the middle of the night?"
Yeah.
yeah.
And here I'm like, I'm not really used to the area, so I don't want to go out at night just yet. But you get my point. It's like. But at the same time, I don't think that that's necessarily culture. I think that's something that like is a one-to-one impact, or like maybe it's more of like that's a societal potential impact, right? Of like it has the opportunity for you to feel like not alone in your emotions in a sense because someone else is expressing that as well. I will say I do think that it is interesting that there is music out there, and a lot of music, like some music is just like, oh, it's just fun, right? It's just to have a good time or whatever. But there are a lot of, at least a lot of rock bands that I've heard before. They do talk about like war and like a lot of these bigger problems and stuff like that, which I find interesting because they're creating a commentary on culture through music, and maybe in a lot of ways they're spreading an understanding of the world through their music. At the same time, though, I typically don't listen to music for that reason. Um, Alex just kind of disappeared, but that's okay. The way that I think of music has always been like a pathway to either focus or self-thought or whatever. It's never really been for me to actually listen to the physical word, like the auditory words coming out of the singer's mouth or the actual band. It's always been more associated with emotion for me, less about like the cultural impacts of those songs. It's always been around what it's doing for me. So I also think that I have a bit of a different relationship with it, where it's like I'm not listening to music in order to get an understanding of culture, really, but I do know. I know someone off the top of my head that Larkin, you and I both know, who listens to rap music, and it seems like he very much like listens to what they're talking about in a sense, and it's like about what they're saying.
Right.
And it's just not the case for me when I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same. I don't know. I guess we lost Alex. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. I think I'm in the same boat as you, and that's I've been listening to a lot of classical music, so this rings even more true because no lyrics, right?
Right.
So it's all about the instrumentation,
Mm-hmm.
but so I'm kind of in the same position that you are, and that's somehow, some way, some certain sequence of chords, a certain combination of instruments played in the right way, like brings out some different types of emotions, and that can be wonderful and cathartic and
Right.
fulfilling. And generally for me too, it's a personal experience. But I'm wondering if that's maybe perhaps a more recent shift, say in the past 50, 70 years, where now that we have things like your phone or
Mm-hmm.
whatever they had like before, a Walkman or something, I don't know,
Right.
so
A
now
Walkman.
that we have
Is that the one
tape
with the
recorders,
tapes
like
in them?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Never
yeah,
seen
so
one of those before.
yeah, I think there used to be one in my attic
Oh.
at my home, but anyway, yeah, so I mean, now that we have ways to listen to music in sort of a personalized manner where you can choose what you're listening to, and listen to it by yourself, that's very different. But I'm wondering, earlier on, if either the main source of music was like some sort of concert or something, maybe you'd
Mm-hmm.
have to go to a bar to hear someone play, maybe at that time. Then it was more like a
Yeah.
social, like a cultural aspect, and so I'd be interesting. It's just an interesting thought, sort of. Maybe the way we consume music has
Mm-hmm.
contributed to uh, its impact on our culture, or maybe a sort of a diversification of culture as a result. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely see that as a potential because it's like, um, back in the day, you would go to a bar, like a jazz bar, to listen to jazz music. Like that's and people would still do that today, but now it's like you can just play it on your phone if you really wanted to, right? Same thing with concerts. You might have a CD, right? You're limited to one CD of music, like 20
Sure.
years ago, but you could listen to their entire repertoire by going to see them live, right? Now it's like you can listen to whatever you want whenever you want. Um, and it's different now. I do still think that it has a place within culture 100%, right? The people, typically it's like the people that are making that music have some semblance of cultural importance, or they're talking about culture in general. Like those are the most, I guess, important in a sense to society, but they might not necessarily be the most popular, right? Some of the most popular songs might just be like a love song, or like talking about how sad you are or whatever, like, right? Like
Yeah.
it's more those emotional tones. It's not necessarily just talking about what's happening in the world, as much, which I definitely see as a potential shift in how things were. But at the same time, I wasn't here 60 years ago, so I can't really say for sure.
Well,
I'm sure back when it was all like concerts, like classical music concerts, that was a driving force for people to be like, oh, let's now talk about this very moving song. But at the same time, it's those songs aren't necessarily talking about the world because they have no words associated with them, or at the very least, it's not something people would recognize unless you're the author of that song, right? Because you can create a conversation with music, but unless you know what that conversation's meant to be, you might just you might completely misinterpret it, which I don't think that's a bad thing either. But that is interesting to think about.
The band of interpretations grows much wider with the as the number of lyrics diminishes.
Decreases, yeah. Because I feel like lyrics almost focus you, or like force the interpretation in a sense.
I feel like for so many songs, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like I'm there's something emotional, there's a lot of passion in the song, and then the singer starts singing, and the lyrics are just so flat, or not at all what you were looking for, or they just don't match whatever you were thinking at the time.
Right.
And it can this happens for me a lot. It ruins the song. Maybe it's why I have a stronger preference towards classical music at this point, because I feel like I just do not connect with a lot of the lyrics in many songs. When I do, though, when the lyrics line up with sort of how you're feeling in that particular moment, or what you were looking for in the song, magical moments, really fantastic, wonderful. But oftentimes it's not the case, and it kind of throws me off. Like, I don't know, perhaps you're different in this way, but for me, like, it's more like I come into a song feeling a certain way, and if the song doesn't line up, then it's a problem for me. Versus instead, perhaps other people, I don't know, maybe they experience a song and the song sort of guides them in a direction. I'm not sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, it depends. Like, my favorite rock songs, for the most part, it's like, I do like a lot of rock beats, but it's like the typical one, and a lot of songs have the typical one where it's just 2/4 on kick drum and a snare, and then you just have hi-hats playing, right? Like, that's the general like backdrop for a lot of in terms of drums. And I feel like a lot of songs have like have instruments playing similar things. So in those situations, it's all about the lyrics, right? When they're doing something completely different, which does happen every now and again, like when you have a truly original feeling piece, right? When that happens, it depends, right? Because sometimes in those situations, though, I do feel like the lyrics also mean something. In those situations, I do think they can still add stuff. It really just is dependent on the song. I feel like it's very dependent on the song. Like, for example, "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," right? Yeah, you've heard that, right? You've heard us play that before
a few times.
Yeah. The instruments themselves, I think, are doing a fantastic job for the most part. Like that song itself is really, really cool. But the lyrics also add something to it. It adds the story, right? So,
absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, that's not a song that's like driving culture to me, I feel like, but maybe there's some underlying subtext there that I just don't know about. I just take it as a song about like a potential scenario of a kid playing his violin against the fun. It's a fun song, but I wouldn't know, because I haven't done research on the context behind the song. If there's like a larger cultural significance there, I wouldn't know. But if there is, like, let me know. Maybe Cougs is watching this, and he'll let me know in the comments below. This is what this song actually means. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or I guess comments for if you're watching this on YouTube. Spotify, you don't really have that option, but you got my point.
Send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email
to our global inbox.
But yeah, so it really does depend. Like, I'm trying to think of another song. Like, there's some songs by 3 Days Grace, which is a band, like, they have a lot of like very sad songs, which I loved in high school, and I'm like. They had a song called like "Pain," which is just like essentially just about being sad. And I'm like,
really?
When I was yes, about being sad, which I really liked when I was in high school. And recently I've been listening to them again a bit. But it's about the lyrics just as much as it is about the overarching song. So I think it really depends.
Sure. Yeah.
I think there are a lot of pop songs where I'm just like, what is this? just
Yeah,
generally
I will.
speaking.
I will retract my previous statement a bit in that the lyrics can add quite a lot to the song. When they are directly telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Yeah, I think. Dude, this camera's wild. Anyway, I think a lot of yeah, you're right. Like a lot of pop songs, the lyrics or like the sort of the union of the lyrics isn't there across the entire song. It seems
Yeah.
the concepts within the lyrics seem sort of isolated to a singular verse or stanza,
Right.
and it seems like they were individually written for that moment, perhaps to match the lyric to match the rhythm or the beat or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I don't know what the motivation was,
Right.
um but when the song tells a full story, like from
Mm-hmm.
beginning to end, or at
Yeah.
least for the most part, yeah, that can be really compelling and go beyond the music for sure.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, I'm not. A lot of songs that I like also do have repeating verses because that's just a thing that songs have for whatever reason. And I do like that still. But the ones that have a story as well are also nice in their own right. I do like both. It just depends on the substance behind the song as well. And there are songs where I'm just like, I'll just listen to it. I don't have to think about this, right? It's not like you don't have to listen
Sure.
to music and like necessarily think about it.
No, not at all.
Especially if that's like not your main focus. Alex, you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. My dad
Back.
called me.
Oh, no
I
worries.
answered the phone.
No worries.
So what are we talking about?
We're still talking about music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did I miss in the conversation?
We were just talking about how like different songs, like what actually makes a song good, whether or not lyrics are as important, things like that. Like when are lyrics important versus like when is it just detracting from the song, or like when does the song like when is it important to like tell a story versus just like to be in the moment in a sense, or like just to let the song sit and not really overthink it, like things like that. We just kind of shifted into that type of a conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do generally think like you can be in a situation where you really want something thought provoking, and then other times it's like, oh, you're working out and you just need someone yelling at you in the background to like push you.
I feel that for sure.
And that also works.
Definitely on a mood basis.
Yeah.
What type of music you want to listen to?
And I pretty much almost exclusively listen to rock, apart from like a few things, right? Like I found certain pop songs that I just like, right? But apart from that, or even rap as well. But it depends. Normally, I just stick with rock for like 90% of the time. But when I'm in the gym, like I might shift what type of rock songs I'm playing. Like it might just be someone doing more screamo, right? And being like stuff
Makes
like
sense.
that. It's
I
more
agree.
hype, like things that are more hype versus if I'm in like a bad mood or something, it might be something like, oh, you're like sad boy hour type of music almost. And like it just depends. It really does just depend. Sometimes the lyrics are more important. Sometimes just the song in general is what you're thinking about. Like it's all mood based for the most part. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Oh, Alex, I did want to ask.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you said this because you spoke very briefly about your guitar. When or why did you pick up? Oh no, you did. You did answer this. Never mind. It was the School of Rock. Right. Okay, forgot.
And Guitar Hero 3.
Right,
Classic
and Guitar Hero
game.
3. Yeah.
Classic game.
Was there a moment when you actually started where you're like, this is a lot of work? To like that jump where it's like, oh, I want to do this because I like this thing, versus actually doing it.
When I first started, like I had gotten, I was like going to like a music school, so I had like a teacher and stuff, so I wasn't terrible, but like first doing it when they're like, okay, now go home and practice for like however many hours,
right,
before you come back next week, and then you write every day. I was like, this is a lot of work for like middle school music. This is a lot.
That is true. That is true.
It was tough at first, but obviously, the more you play it, the more comfortable you get with it. So it was definitely worth it in the long run. Because then I was in like my high school band all 4 years and stuff.
Nice.
And then college came, and then I moved into the dorm, didn't bring the guitar with me, and now it just sits here and collects dust because I haven't touched it really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably completely out of tune. Well, actually, it's not terrible. But yeah, it just sits here. Yeah, actually extremely dusty. Whatever. It's here taunting me. Eventually, one day I'll get back to it. But right now, it just sits here.
One day, when you stare at it long enough, when your internet's out, you can't play any Fortnite.
Sitting right here next to whatever this drum I got as a kid for Christmas. This
oh
djembe.
wait,
you ever see these?
That's cool.
I got this randomly as a Christmas gift one year. I don't know why, but
that's cool.
I just use it to annoy my parents. Smacking the drum.
I've never really played hand drums all that much, but
I don't know how to play it. I was just given it, and I was like, all right, time to make loud, annoying noises all day.
Yeah, I do want to get more like different hand drums and stuff, like just different drums in general. But again, I'm in an apartment, so I can't really.
Yeah, no, you're just be annoying everybody around you.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking for an electric kit instead of an actual physical like normal drum. But maybe one day. Larkin, why don't you just bring over your keyboard from home? Like your family one?
No. At home, I would play on a real piano.
Oh, and like, you don't want to bring that to your place? Would your mom care?
Well, I mean, first of all, like my mom owns the piano. Like it's not my piano.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like it's a real like full standing like full size piano. Like
okay, gotcha.
Not
a grand piano. Yeah.
Not a grand piano, but it's a regular. Yeah. So first of all, getting that over here would be crazy. But second of all, I don't own it. It's my mom's. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My mom also can play. Like.
Okay, gotcha. I thought no one else played in your house. It was just you. So I was
no. I mean, my mom kind of hasn't played recently, but she knows how to play. Yeah.
Okay.
She's much better than I am. Yeah.
Gotcha. I was gonna say if like no one else plays in your household, you might as well just cop that one.
No. She'll play once in a while. No, I have no jurisdiction over that piano. Also, trying to move a piano is like crazy. That's bonkers. Like it's very, very difficult. I'd have to load the whole piano into like the back I mean, it'd be insane. It would be insane operation. Versus, especially if I move out of here in a couple years, it's going to be a consistent issue. No, but I do want to get a keyboard. I think that would be nice. As long as like what you were saying before, it's high quality. Like, it can measure the with
speed of
what
presses
frequency
and
what intensity you press down. It has the levers and whatnot. Yeah. Gotta do some more investigation there.
Yeah. And the levers can normally be, if you're buying a keyboard, they can normally be extensions that you buy separately too. So just think about that.
You made another good point about having the piano connect to the computer. I think that would be really cool if there was some nice software to go with that.
Yeah, normally I believe there's probably an intermediary that you need to get typically that you plug in to your keyboard. I'm not sure. At least that's how it is for electronic drums, where it's like you have a little piece of hardware that you plug into, and then that plugs into your PC. But
cool.
It might be the same, it might be different. I'm not too sure.
You have to look into it.
Yeah,
those things can get pretty pricey pretty fast. So
yeah,
it's a trade-off. I don't want to spend too much money on it, but I also like if I'm gonna have this thing for like 10 years straight, like learning the piano, like without, I don't intend to invest in a real piano until I like settle down and buy a house or something.
Right.
A long time from now, at least a decade probably, right? So,
well, you're in a house right now, Larkin.
I am. Yeah, I'm in a house. I'm in a house. I didn't exactly buy the house.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But hoping to get back to piano, get some music going again. I don't know, at least in some electronic capacity.
Yeah. Hopefully one day while on this podcast we will both have pianos again.
We can serenade.
And I'll pull out the guitar. And I'll be 2 pianos, 1 guitar.
Right.
A bit of a trio. That's a classic.
Band.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be cool though. It's just a matter of time. I've been drawing a lot instead though. Well, not a lot, but I've been drawing instead of doing anything else. So.
I mean, it's another thing to put time into, so it frees up time for other things. But
right, exactly.
I don't know. It's worthwhile. It's definitely worthwhile. I do think like having that musical touch in there.
Yeah.
Of course,
It is weird not having my viola calluses anymore. I haven't had them in a long time.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's a throwback. Holy shit.
Alex, did you used to? Well, since you played a string instrument, you must have had calluses too, right?
Oh yeah, no, I did. My right hand was all calloused like crazy. No more though. I haven't touched it in forever. They're all back to being very squishy. My fingertips.
Yeah.
Not like they used to be. They were definitely all rough and callous for sure on the sand. My fingers right here.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I recall like when I was playing viola, like having calluses and playing string. This is a little random. Did you guys ever have calluses from like writing too much in like high school?
No, I don't think
No.
so.
I used to. I had a small.
I'm left-handed, so I didn't get calluses. The entire side of my hand would just turn like black from pen and pencil.
Yeah. I'm also left-handed. That's the struggle. Yeah.
Oh no!
Wait.
Wait! You're both left-handed. Why am I the odd one out in this scenario?
Yeah. How does it feel?
Messed up. Albert, don't run into us in a dark alley. That's all I'm gonna say. You'll
show me your hands, I guess. I don't know. What would you do? What would you do?
We'll beat you down with our left hand.
Show me your left hands, guys.
But yeah, I used to get this callus like on my middle finger, like, from rubbing between the index and middle finger. I would get some callus from like.
Yeah, no, I never got that.
Yeah, I used to have like a bump here on my middle finger.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it ever got calloused, but I would write like very small in particular, and it would annoy my finger. I just write now. I don't care how nice my handwriting is. It's legible, so it's good.
I never cared. My handwriting was never legible to anybody except for me. Ever. The history of my entire life.
You and me both. Yeah.
Well, I think that's just something you have to give up on when you're left-handed, right? Because writing text is made for right-handed people.
Like if I just writing like this, I'm smearing it anyway. Who cares if it's already? Who cares if it's just sloppy?
Right. I guess it's probably easier though with like if you used an iPad or something, that wouldn't be a problem. Like so now you.
No, that wouldn't be a problem. But obviously, I wasn't doing that in elementary school.
Right. Obviously not. But I have an iPad now, and I used to take a lot of electronic notes the last 2-3 years for college. So I never really had a smudging problem, but definitely helps with like weight portability and stuff like that. Like also you never have to deal with a tiny pencil. Trying to write with a tiny pencil is no longer a problem outside of maybe art, but yeah. That is funny. It's really weird. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where there were more left-handed people around me than right-handed people. This is very odd.
Now you are.
I just sometimes wonder how left-handedness affects like how people write or even how people speak. Because when you think about it, when you're learning to write in elementary school and middle school, when you're writing with your right hand, you can see what the words you've written in the sentence as you write them out. So you don't have to have it in your head, right? But when you're writing with your left hand, you obscure the words that you just wrote, and so you have to have like a mental frame of like the last the last few words you wrote, but also like half of like the last page that you wrote as well.
So what you're saying is that we're smarter than Albert.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is left-handed people are superior in every way.
I don't really think about the things after I write them. I just wrote them, so like. They're already in my head, I guess. Also, you could just, you know what you could do? You know what you could do? See, like this is your hand on the paper, right? You're writing, right? You lift your hand, and you can see what you just wrote.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
we're gonna do that. Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. No.
Yeah, no.
Just like just like.
Also, when I
people are better. What-handedness is Link from Legend of Zelda, left-handed. So therefore, we're already better because we got Link on our side.
QED. There you go. Oh my god. Yeah, I do wonder though if there's like any sort of like subtle difference in like the word choices or the phrases people use.
I don't know. That would be.
I don't know. That would be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this, like if you're writing an essay in like middle school or high school, right? And the sentence you're writing sounds like shit, right? When you're left-handed, I feel like it's easier to ignore that and just keep plowing away as you're writing. But the right-handed person is just like looking at the words they just wrote, and it's like, wow, this is depressing. Like, I need to do a better job. Maybe they erase and they go back or something. Like,
I mean, perhaps I don't actually know, because it could be a background process in your brain that's doing it. Because you might not be doing it at the forefront of your mind, but I guess if you're visually seeing it still, because you're looking at the entire page, perhaps I wouldn't know that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever thought about.
That really matters that much.
Yeah.
Like for English class one year, we had to, like do like a mock, like like college essay. This is senior year of high school, like for college application essay.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was due like I forgot what this might have. I don't know if this was like it was supposed to be like summer homework. I forget because there was one year I thought the summer homework was not due on the first day of school, and I found out like 2 a.m. before the first day of school that it was. So I had to do it all like the 4 hours. But I don't know if it was that. There was another time though. It might have been that we had to write like a mock college essay, but I forgot to do it until like the last second, so I did it at like 2 in the morning.
Nice.
And like you're saying, like how left-handed people just ignore what they write and it's bad. My first sentence was literally like, "Video gaming has taught me a lot about life."
Oh god! Oh god!
And I just did not. I just completely ignored it. So maybe there's some credit to that. I imagine if I was right-handed, maybe I would have backspaced that sentence as I was typing it out.
That's really funny.
But the fact that I'm left-handed, I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's 2 in the morning. I want to go to bed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know
how I passed though. I should not have passed. The teacher was very nice and still let me pass. I had to read it in front of the entire class though, and it was embarrassing. But
that's tough. That's tough. Yeah.
But
oh man.
I mean,
I
just didn't really sleep that much, and I was so like I don't know. I was always like, oh, my assignment's due very very soon. I guess I should finally do it now. So like I was always like that, but if it was something to write, I would probably reread it once, so just in case. But it would depend. Like if I wrote something and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that made sense, I would just keep going. But if I was like, I have no idea what I just wrote, then I'd reread it potentially. But I don't know. I think it's more just like what you felt like doing. I don't think it had any.
Maybe it's not left-handed right. I think maybe it's just like it's 2 in the morning. I want to go to bed. Let me just write something in like 5 minutes.
Right.
I hope I pass.
Right, and maybe it's just like, oh, I would rather like watch a show or play a video game versus writing this assignment that I don't care about at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very. I think that's more of what it's about than what hand you write with.
Well, I like to think it's because of my left-handed superiority. Makes me feel better about the whole thing.
Well, wouldn't it be inferiority if it means that you write worse?
Yeah, you wouldn't understand as a right-handed person.
Right-handers wouldn't understand.
Sorry.
The logic is just too profound.
You're superior in writing worse. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Our superior in profound handedness and intellect. They go hand in hand, as they say. Anyway. Oh my god. Alright, well we are coming off across the hour and a half here? No, 2 hours. 2 hours, yeah.
No, I have an hour and a half. Or an hour and 40 almost. Yeah.
Oh, nice, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I don't know how long the call itself. Late. Yeah, because we started...
Yeah.
Like 1:20-ish?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yes, 1:20. I was doing the math. I was like, yes, potentially? Because it started
around there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was like 10 something for me, so I was like,
oh, that's right. You have to do time zone conversions.
Yes.
Filthy West Coaster. I just know what time it is. I don't have to convert anything. What a crazy concept.
All right, let's ask another fun question. Okay.
All right.
So, if you were given $1 billion today, right? Enough money that you wouldn't need to work ever again a day in your life. Yeah, it was just handed to you, right? No taxes, nothing. It's just in your bank account.
Is this pre-tax?
It's just in your bank account, $1 billion forever. All right, you're good.
Nice, okay.
Or actually, no, it's post-tax. It's post-taxes. You have $1 billion. Okay, cool.
$1 billion bucks.
Yeah. $1 billion, not a million. Billion.
Yeah, billion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's the first thing that you guys would do?
Not be an idiot and spend it all immediately on stupid things. I'd actually be smart and try and make that money actually like last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, $1 billion is still a lot of money. I don't think I'm gonna have a problem making that last, but you never know.
Right.
I might,
Yeah.
Like I'll basically say I'm not gonna just gamble it all away. I'm not getting a gambling addiction. That's not happening.
Oh, definitely not.
I'll gamble some of it, not all of it.
Yeah, maybe go to Vegas for a weekend, but like, not very often. Like, don't do that every week.
I mean, I would just live the life I'm already living. I wouldn't just become more luxurious because I have money. I would just be like, okay, I could just keep living the life I'm living, but now I also have money that I don't have to worry.
Maybe you could crowdfund your own video game.
I could do that.
Yeah.
That's also a possibility.
Crowd of one.
Yeah, crowd of one. Yeah.
Crowd of one. Self-fund.
Just angel invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. billion. I mean, that is like an absurd amount of. I honestly,
It is.
No, it is. It is absurd.
other than like, you know, make sure you're good with the IRS and all that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like real time. Like, I feel like you almost have like some sort of moral obligation when you have $1 billion to do something positive with it pretty directly.
Right.
Like, I just think, you know, I don't have enough money to solve a lot of family or friends' problems,
Mm-hmm.
right? And usually money can't solve most of these problems.
Right.
But there are many situations where I think about, you know, maybe a large sum of money could perhaps help in those situations. And it's like, suddenly I have $1 billion. Like, now I got to make a list of like, what are my priorities of spending this $1 billion in my lifetime? Like, where
Mm-hmm.
can I have like the biggest impact? Like, it feels like despite having $1 billion, which in like an on the surface level feels like it's a huge relief because you don't really have any obligations anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to work, whatever. Suddenly it feels like you have so many obligations because, you know, if you look back in your life and you just burned away this $1 billion, like slowly but surely, maybe you left some to your grandkids. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Like, you're gonna feel like shit. You know, you could have done so much more, and you didn't. So I don't know. Suddenly I start thinking, well, how can I impact the world the best? Because I don't have to worry about myself anymore.
Right.
Like in some sense, you know.
That makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah, it feels in a very strange way. Life suddenly feels quite difficult. I don't know.
Right. I do kind of wonder how easy it would be to spend $1 billion. Like I don't know.
I think it depends on what you buy.
Yeah, like if you buy a billion boats,
dude. Like, how much is a yacht?
Well, now my mom's
how
calling
much
me. What?
is a super yacht?
Um.
The annual fees can run for 350,000. Oh my god, bro! One of the super yachts costs 600 million. Wait, we could blow through this easily. Hold on.
600 million? Oh my god.
600 million. That's like 60% of our net worth on a single boat.
Dude, who needs that big a boat?
$1 million a year just to keep it maintenance. Anyway. Yeah.
Wow, that's just stupid.
Dude,
that's actually just dumb. Bro. Why would you?
We gotta rephrase the question to $100 billion. $1 billion isn't enough, all right?
It's not enough anymore.
Oh my god.
To be honest, insane. Like I specifically, I know what I would first do. I'd wipe out like any debt that me or my family members have. Like that would be the first thing I do, because it's just like you have to cover your initial basis
like
first.
Mortgages.
Yes.
And things.
Yeah. Everything like that. It's done. But then it's like that barely makes a dent with $1 billion, right? That does nothing. So then you're just like sitting there with this remaining amount, and it's like, well, at that point I'd be like, okay, my parents don't have to work anymore. Let's just go on vacations. And yeah, let's just do that for a while, right? But even then you're not going to blow through all of it just doing, like if you're just traveling, like even with that, like if you spend like let's say you're even on the high end, right? Because when you're on vacation, you spend a lot of money just in general, because you're living in hotels, you're going to actual like more expensive, like, or you're eating out, right? So you're spending more money, like all of that, right? So say you're spending like $1,000 a week, like that's already like pretty high, but like
that's nothing.
That's nothing. Like that's your like $1,000 a week, 52 weeks.
Let's say you're spending $10,000 a week. That's $520,000 a year. That is an exorbitant amount of money.
It's still not a dent. It would take a decade to go.
Anything, dude.
Yeah, it would take a decade just to hit like $1 million.
Yeah, if in 2 decades you will have spent 1% of that $1 billion.
Right. Right. So like, so you're still good at that point. So I think the shift would be in your mentality, where it's like, well, what do you do with all of that cash? It's like at some point you'd have to be like, all right, what are the things that actually need money? Like where should it go? And I think it would end up being the responsibility of like, well, making sure you do the research where you're putting that money in a sense, and making sure that whether or not, like regardless of the intention of certain organizations, like if they're the result, like what are the end results of whatever they're doing, and then investing in those depending on those end results, right? And I think that would be kind of the focus where I would be like. But then again, it's still like, what do you do with your day? Like, what do? You don't have to go to work, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, you know. I mean, you can choose how actively you want to be involved. I mean, look, you could just donate, you know, $990 million to the Red Cross,
Yeah.
keep whatever's left for you and your family, and you know, say have a good life, right?
Right.
But
and the question though is, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you have $1 billion, what if you just give out the interest on your bank account? Like, how much would that?
That's actually a good idea.
Well, that's the idea of Alfred Nobel, no?
Yeah. It's all that. Yeah, it's all interest.
Yeah.
So if you have that much, probably that's probably fine. And then you do something similar to like what Nobel did, and you just have it go on after you, right? That would probably be a great thing too, because it's like, if you just hand an organization $1 million, you don't know if they're going to properly utilize it. They might not even know how to spend that money properly because they've never had that much.
Well, how about you just make your own nonprofit instead of using that money to make your own nonprofit instead of just donating it to nonprofits?
The issue is, well, the thing is though, there's an issue with that, right? Because it's like, are you an expert in whatever you're making the nonprofit in? If those experts already exist, why not already, and those organizations already exist, why not just support and bolster what already exists, right? You don't necessarily have to make it yourself.
Because I like being competitive in the nonprofit market.
Of course. There's also merit to like doing your own work.
Right, 100%.
Let's say there's a small problem that you want to solve, and it's a legitimate problem, but because of other priorities, no one else has got into it. No other philanthropist has got into it. No other organization. Well, I mean, if you think like let's say it's some sort of medicinal problem, if you think $1 billion is enough to solve that issue permanently for the planet, and you decide that's worthwhile for you, then sure, you spend the $1 billion, you hire the scientists, researchers, whatever, right? You solve that issue, and that was your contribution to society, and it was a good one, and
right.
You know, maybe that was worthwhile, and maybe that targeted funding of $1 billion was better than a widespread diffusion of that money across you know, many different sectors.
And to be honest, like,
depends on what the situation is, I feel like, though.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, that's the burden I was talking about before. Like, you have $1 billion, like right now, you have $1 billion. You've solved all your family's problems, all their debts. They're free for life. You guys can travel. You can do whatever you want, and you still have $990 million left.
Yeah.
And now your family and friends are asking, well, what are you gonna do with your life?
Yeah.
Right? And you have to respond to them in some way, saying, well, I'm going to make some sort of positive contribution with this. Right. And you've got an enormous laundry list of like life problems across the globe. Right. And you can pick like one or two of them, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's like you do philanthropy for one thing. Maybe you become a patron to like different artists and musicians. Like, that could be another aspect of it, where it's like you're supporting people that like you believe in what they're creating or whatever. You can go into maybe like the startup world if you really wanted to, like if you see products you wanted, but it's all freedom at that point. It's like whatever you choose to do
whatever you want.
Yeah. And it's like at that point it's like you don't like, even if you didn't do anything for the rest of your life, I think the only burden would be like, what would you spend your time with, right? Because I honestly, I feel like if you had that much money, you would just get bored if you weren't doing anything, right? If you're just sitting there, I don't know, watching television or like, I don't know, playing video games or whatever, like you'd get bored at some point, right? Because there's nothing else to do. Yeah. I think that's where the other pieces come in, because it's like those elements, right? They're the entertainment, the gratification that we get through the enjoyment, right? But they're not. They become less enjoyable the longer
the more you do them without any change,
right? And so I think that's where it would become very apparent within your life, where it's like you need to do other things. I think also the question would be, how easy would it be to fall into drugs and alcohol at that point? Like, that would be another element that's potentially a huge issue. Because it's like you have nothing else to do, and like, say you're not super ambitious, or like you look at the potential challenges of what you want to do or the potential benefits you can have, and you get super overwhelmed, and you're like, oh, this is an easier out. Like, it could also just destroy you which is very interesting as well.
And sadly, we hear that happens like a lot of like lotto winners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
lot
A lot of I think 90 or 95% of lottery winners like become exactly where they started within like a year or whatever. I think I heard something similar. That's probably not the exact statistic, but
that's probably not exact. But I've heard some similar like
yeah,
alarming statistics.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they don't know what to do with the money that they've been given, because you're not used to it, right?
No.
And even if it's just like, if it's like $1 million, right? That's with $1 billion, you're not going to run out of that unless you're doing some really stupid shit. But if it's $1 million and you've never had that amount before, the question is like, well, how do you magically learn how to balance that? You don't know, right? So you just start spending the money on the things that you need, and then you switch over to the things that you want. But if it's $1 million, you can actually supersede that, right? If you're doing spending that isn't necessarily a need, you can hit $1 million, right? You buy a Rolex, you buy a car, right?
Yep.
And then you buy your family and friends things too, right? It'll add up, right? You'll lose all of that at some point. But with the billion, it's like, it's going to be hard unless you really unless you fall into the bad habits of like drugs, alcohol addiction, gambling, like the things that can really destroy your life. That's where it would be a problem, right?
Yeah.
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 Very deep conversations here on the Moment in Time podcast.
That is true.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the big takeaway is, everyone needs a purpose. Everyone needs something they're working towards. At any point in time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're coming up on 2 hours. Do you guys want to stop for today?
I think this is a good.
I think that's a good note to end it on. A good motivational note to keep our listeners happy until next time.
Yeah, everyone, just get $1 billion, okay, and see what happens.
Well, that's not the mess up. Your life should always have a purpose.
Right. No, I'm just messing with you, man. Alrighty. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed wherever you're listening from, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.